The International 12-foot dinghy was designed by George Cockshott, an amateur boat designer from Southport, over a century ago. It became the first one-design racing dinghy to achieve international recognition. George Cockshott. Cockshott was born the 7th of May 1875, and educated at Uppingham and King's College, Cambridge. He resided at Southport, and was Vice-Commodore of Southport Corinthian Yacht Club. As a boy he took a keen delight in building and sailing modelled yachts, and while at school built for himself a rowing and sailing boat. He joined the Cambridge University Sailing Club shortly after its formation in 1893. On coming down from Cambridge, he spent several seasons as forward hand, racing in the Southport 3/4 rating class and the Menai Straits 1 rating class. He owned the Unona, a half-deck centre-board boat, and designed and sailed for 2 seasons a boat in their restricted classes of 12-foot dinghies with a fair measure of success. In 1901 he became owner of the 12-ton cutter Eurynome, a boat long famous as a cruiser racer in Irish, Clyde and Welsh waters, and though Cockshott preferred cruising to racing, considerably reduced her spars and canvas. She was successfully raced under his flag for several seasons in a strong handicap class. In 1904 he again entered the 3/4 rating class as part owner of him. His present yacht is the Storeen, an able and comfortable cruising yawl of 16 tons, built from his own designs, and launched in the spring of 1906. Cockshott has also turned his attention to yacht architecture, and, in addition to his own yacht 120-tonner, several smaller yachts, a motor launches, and tender to the Southport lifeboat, have been built from his designs. He designed a new racing class for the West Lancashire Yacht Club, from which 6 boats are now being built. Clubs: Royal Mersey Yacht Club, Southport Corinthian Yacht Club, West Lancashire Yacht Club, and Cambridge University Cruising Club. Address: 3 Tulkeith Street, Southport, BR. In 1913 there was published in England a new rating rule for yachts of all sizes. The rule was prepared by the self-styled Boat Racing Association, under the chairmanship of Lt. Col. J.T. Bucknell at a meeting in November 1912. BRA felt that ordinary racing sailors were not catered for by the YRA rating rules. Initially there was to be a class of 18-footer rating, which was to be smaller than a 6 meters. Other sizes of yachts were intended to follow, including a 12-foot and a 20-foot. The BRA rating formula was, rating in feet equals divided by 4 plus divided by 3x cube root of weight. I leave it to another contributor to do the mathematics. The class is known in some quarters as the International 1 Design 12-foot dinghy classes, as it is the smallest and 5th design approved by the International Conference of Nations held in 1919. The alternative design. Following the success of the George Cockshott design, there was a suggestion in 1920 that the Cockshott design be replaced by a design by Frank Morgan-Giles, who suggested that his design was superior to the design created by Cockshott, who was a mere amateur. Morgan-Giles persuaded the British that his design was superior, but he was unable to convince the Dutch or Italians. The future of the class. The foundations of the International Association were laid at a meeting in the Hotel Giolanda, Portofino, Italy in May 2006, and this was followed by another meeting in Tuzla, Turkey in October 2007. During this time much progress has been made towards re-establishing the 12-foot dinghy as a truly international class. The 12-foot dinghy is one of the vintage yachting classes at the 2012 Vintage Yachting Games. The World Dinghy Championships. In 1924, the Brussels Royal Yacht Club held the first World Dinghy Championships. Which nations competed? Belgium, England, Republic of France, Holland, Irish Free State, Italy. The Irish Championships. In the 1920s till the 1950s there were fleets in Royal Munster Yacht Club, Sutton Dinghy Club, Howth, Baltimore, Clontarf Yacht and Boat Club, and Sea Point Boat Club. The first International Dinghy Championship was held by the Royal Munster Yacht Club in Cork Harbour on 12, 13 and 14 August 1925. In 2011 the first Irish combined EBSC 12-foot and INT 12-foot championships for at least 40 years was held at the Royal St George Yacht Club. Boats of the international design and the Dublin Bay rig sailed against each other as equals in 2011, which was won by Gail Varian in a DBSC-rigged boat. In 2015 in Dún Laoghaire Harbour and in the waters outside the harbour, the second Irish Championship of recent years took place under the Royal St George Yacht Club Burgee on 30 August. George Miller in Pixie, an internationally rigged boat, won overall. The following year the event in Dún Laoghaire Harbour, which was part of the National Heritage Week, was sailed in light weather, and showed that the DBSC boat was capable of pointing higher upwind, but being considerably slower downwind. The Irish Championship winner was the DBSC 12 Escate, owned by David Sarrett and crewed by Gail Varian. Dublin Bay 12-footer. Due to the type of short steep waves which occur in Dublin Bay, Ireland, some owners of the Dún Laoghaire International 12-footers, under the recommendation of J. O'Leary, modified the design in the 1960s to reduce the amount of water taken over the bow. They modified the design by putting a small foredeck with washboards, inserting a new mast step after the existing step, cutting a circular hole in the forward thwart, moving the mast aft, shortening the boom, cutting down the size of the mainsail, and hoisting a small jib borrowed from the other Dublin Bay Classic dinghy class, the Waterwag. The modification was declared a success, and the modified fleet sailed and raced for about another 10 years. No alterations were made to the hull or underwater appendages, so the alterations should be reversible. Builders of international 12-foot dinghies. The Sea Point Boat Club 12-footers were built by Michael Mahoney of Dún Laoghaire in 1925. Wall of Fame.